Welcome, fellow explorers. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Really excited to be here today with some really experienced team, which I'll introduce shortly, to talk about Norway and our sailings on MS Spitsbergen. This very much feels like a coming home voyage for us, having started as an expedition company in 1896 with our first sailing from Tromsø up to Spitsbergen. So great to be coming back. We're going to be joined today, and we will introduce them as we come, with Monica, who is one of our expedition leaders on MS Spitsbergen, Verena, who's our chief scientist, and Karen, who's our head of expedition development. And these Norway sailings have very much been part of the brainchild of Karen. So fantastic to have you all in the call to join us. Very much worth saying that as part of this process, and all our guests that are logged in today to join us, this is we're going to try to answer your questions that you have pre-posted as part of this webinar. So we will be bringing those up as we go through the webinar. At the end, our aim is to talk for 35-40 minutes, but at the end we will have a question and answer session. In the background, we're joined by numerous colleagues that are answering your questions as you go. So we will aim to either answer those in the question and answer box or in person at the end. To get us going, and as a quick introduction, we very much feel within our Hurtigruten HX Expeditions portfolio that we have the perfect balance of adventurous itineraries, including very much this one to Norway, on a super comfortable ship, in this case MS Spitsbergen, with sustainability at our heart. What we really mean by that is that we really have all these bits covered, from incredible experience from expedition leaders like Monica, our purpose-built ships, but also what we do in terms of our science and education program, very much making sure our voyages have a sense of purpose and meaning is really important to us. We're very transparent in all our sustainability matters, so we publish an annual report on everything we do, and that's really important for us to make as lower impact as possible. Sorry, I've talked too much on those slides, but we'll move through those slides. The challenge we have on this webinar is we've got so much content, and it's somewhere that's really close to our heart and we love. And also, Verena is currently on MS Spitsbergen, and as part of that, we've got our new HX brand, which we're very proud of, and also it's gone through a bit of a refurbishment. So Verena, could I just bring you in, as you're the only one of the group of us here that have actually seen this in the flesh. But here's the ship in its new colours, but what's happening on the inside?
Well, everything has been, well, not everything, but a lot of the public areas have been reshaped and repurposed. So you can see here you see the reception area. You also see the bistro area, where you will be able to test fantastic new menus as well. On the left, on the left side, you see one of our new science center areas where we will offer activities there. And on the right-hand side, lower image, you see our bar, where you will also have all the lectures given to you. So it's really looking super nice, and it's just missing one thing: our beloved guests.
Brilliant. And soon to be joining the ship tomorrow for our first sailings in the British Isles before heading north. I think one of the things you mentioned about the bistro being refurbished, this area, those that may have sailed on Spitsbergen before, this previously was a science centre, but this has been restored to a bistro to allow us to have dining options throughout the day. And that's very much been in mind with these Norwegian sailings, because we realise the Norwegian winters really can be cold, but when you go out and do activities, that you can come back in somewhere very homely and relaxed and have some of these amazing new menus and snacks that Verena mentioned. Of course, we'll also be talking about the refurbished Science Centre and some of the other bits later in the chat here. Part of our offering, if you haven't sailed with us before and since last October, has been an all-inclusive concept. So you shouldn't have to dip your hands in your pockets except for anything extra you buy in our boutique. But day to day, everything on board is included. So from the science and education program, food, drinks, working with a photographer, Wi-Fi, etc., etc. Of course, a lot more information on all of this on the web. Okay, moving on. Northern Norway, these sailings. I'm going to bring in Monica and Karen. Karen, you've been developing these itineraries for 2 years ish, and I know you've been dreaming of these for 30 years or more. Tell us a little bit.
For a long time, actually. But what we've been dreaming of is to do them in the fashion we're doing now, with the expedition kind of backdrop, which we have tried to do before, sort of semi-successful. But I feel that now we've been able to create an itinerary where the expedition element is at the forefront, and where we are able to utilize the light and the darkness as well, you know, being on the hunt for the northern lights and so forth throughout the voyage, and be spontaneous in these regions, and we know them well. This is where we grew up, and this is where we are, and this is where we have our backyard in a sense. So I feel like coming home here. Yeah,
coming home. And of course, these itineraries, I think, was special for us is that they're going to be starting in Tromsø and finishing in Tromsø.
Yeah,
these are not these are totally different from any coastal sailing or any the coastal route. These are specific expedition sailings to and from Tromsø, the Arctic capital. We've circled 4 special areas here. Maybe Karen and Monica, we've just sort of highlighted a little bit here these special areas that we will concentrate on these trips. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
We can. I can start, Monica, and then you continue. I guess you know them just as well as I do. By the way, both Monica and I are Norwegians, so this is our backland, so to speak. We will be focusing on the Lyngen Alps, which have these alpine mountains and the fjords, deep fjords. And what we have focused on is also that Spitsbergen stays within the parameter of being inside the fjords. So we're going to focus on the fjords with this, meaning that you have land on both sides of the ship most of the time when we're sailing. So there's not a lot of open sea stretches or anything. We're going to be nestling around mountains and bays and fjords and so forth. And that's what we think is the highlight here. So Lyngen is a ski paradise for those who are like that. But just seeing those mountains from the ship is absolutely breathtaking. Would you like to take the next one, Monica, about Lofoten?
Yeah, Lofoten is quite special to me actually, because my granddad used to work as a fisherman there back in those days, long time ago. Yeah,
exactly.
He's from those areas, but both Vesterålen and Lofoten is really stunning areas with all the islands and alpine mountains and all the tiny little communities. I think Lofoten, I guess most of you have heard about Lofoten, maybe not as many has heard about Vesterålen, but both of them are equally beautiful and rugged, and to experience those from the ship, from the land side as well, is a very special experience. And as we are going with our zodiacs as well, this gives a little bit more flexibility and kind of the wilderness feeling also when we are there in the middle of the winter, where it's darker than obviously in the summertime. It's a very special experience.
But you do have that blue light. You have that the light in the winter in these areas are so, it's almost hypnotizing in a sense, because
It's
they do.
spectacular.
You know, exactly. So it's not dark in that sense. It's and when it's dark, we will hunt the light, because then we will look for the northern lights. So, you know, there's always a sense of light that we are trying to see. And Vesterålen is definitely something that the Norwegians know well, but people who come outside of Norway don't know. So we would like to show you that.
And
Absolutely.
it's one of those areas, isn't it? You know, a lot of our captains and senior officers are Norwegian and who have been brought up on the coast, and they say we have to do expeditions in Vesterålen.
Yes.
And,
and
now we're doing it. So fantastic. And very much in part of the Norwegian DNA is this outdoor life. And can you tell us a bit about what it means being a Norwegian and all these things? Go, Karen. Or go, Monica.
I can do that.
You can definitely do that.
Yeah, I love the outdoor life. The outdoor life has been a part of my life since more or less I opened my eyes, I think.
Yeah.
That's how it is in Norway. We always go out. We're always in we're always in the nature. Our parents takes us out, no matter the weather, no matter the light or no light. It's about being outside, feeling the fresh air, feeling the elements, seeing the changes in the nature, and experience the silence as well, and being together out in the nature. Maybe challenge yourself a little bit as well. Hopefully we will do some activities that maybe some of you have never done before and is excited about. So hopefully that we will bring some amazing memories to your voyage and to your life that you will remember. And of course, always we have this background on the beautiful light. And it's not just light and dark, as Karin said. We have pink, we have blue, we have gray, we have green, we have all kinds of shades of light.
And part of that, Karin, the itineraries and the activities have been based around, you know, the Norwegian outdoor way of life. And you know, some of these, and we've got some, and we've been part of any expedition planning for us, and voyage planning is doing extensive research and reconnaissance. And you even pulled out one of our old captains.
We did. We pulled him out of the darkness, so to speak,
into the light again.
Or into the light again. Yeah, Ole Johan, and he's been part of planning this with us, and he's been incremental actually to find the small bays and fjords that can where very few ships go at all, and then we've been sort of wrecking those. With the backdrop of being able to use Spitsbergen, you know, very agile, so that we can if the weather is like this here, we go there. If the weather is like there here, we go here. So it's all this agility that we've been working so much with over the last year or so, and then the activities as well that will fit to what Monica was saying about outdoor life, bonfires, snowshoeing, and there on the coast of Norway, the winters can be a little bit in the sense of you have 4 winters in one winter, in a sense.
It's a bit fickle.
Yeah, it's a bit fickle. Oh, that's a good word. Thank you. I was wondering what word I should use. But fickle winters in the sense that you might have snow really close to where we land or where we use our zodiacs on one day, and you come to another region the next day and there's hardly any, and you start working on your shoes, or you walk with crampons or whatever. We have a big plan of equipping our guests very well with what they need to be able to enjoy those different kind of seasons. So you have a little bit of different seasons even in the wintertime. So it is so unpredictable in a good way.
And I know we're going to talk about activities a bit later, but I think, you know, for me, the takeaway from what you just said, Karin, is that, you know, on one itinerary, we could be snowshoeing, and on the next itinerary, we could be in the same place and we could be hiking.
Yeah. Or within the same itinerary. Exactly. And within
Yeah.
the same itinerary, we could be even be doing the same. So
Yeah.
you could be snowshoeing one day and be walking on your shoes
Yeah.
another day. Yeah, because you are
Uh,
on the coastline. Yeah.
The Norwegian red.
Yeah, this is traditional. This is traditional barns need to be red.
Yeah.
If you told my dad that barns were anything but red, he would fume.
But
So
we'll be visiting. We're planning on visiting places like this, though. Yeah.
yes, and this is an island, so you can't get there unless you are with a boat. So this is Tranøy, and it's a place where it's steeped in history, steeped in where you can see how people have been living both past and present in a sense with the elements and the nature of element. So this is in Senja, and we have great plans of doing kayaking here with our guests and so forth. So there's a lot to do right here. So if you come and when you come, this is going to be an exciting stop for us all.
Including, I think, one of the magical things which I've been lucky enough to see a bit of, but not like Monica, who's lived up in Svalbard for quite a while, and of course Karen in Norway. But the Northern Lights, and part of these itineraries, the timing is really good for Northern Lights viewing.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good indeed. And I think that is one of the things that we have focused a lot on, is to be able to get out of the light polluted areas and stay in the fjords and the bays where it's dark, where you can really see the Northern Lights well, and you can see it at any sort of time. You don't have to hop into a bus at 4 a.m. in the morning in Tromsø in order to get out somewhere in the outskirts. You have it right there. You basically just go from your cabin up on deck, and if you don't, you don't. But if you do, you do. So it's just such a, I mean, getting out of the settlements and stay in these fjords is a massive plus for doing a voyage of this kind to see Northern Lights.
Yeah, and there's the ship, no better platform than the ship.
Absolutely no better platform. Yeah, absolutely, because we can move with the we can move wherever we want.
And of course, it's not, we've talked about the light and the change in light, which is magical, but also, although one may think that the winter is dark and barren and there's no wildlife. Verena, what should we, I guess, our fellow explorers be looking out for in the winter in Norway?
Of course, the sea eagle will be present there, feeding on fish. And orcas, there is also a resident population of orcas that may be seen in the area where you will be sailing. It's always, we always need to keep in mind that this is wildlife, and they come and go as they please. If we get the chance to see them, we can consider ourselves really lucky. There are also humpback whales that can be around at that time, and seals, reindeer. Monica, foxes would be also an option to a species that you could see.
I would not highlight foxes, no, but it might be possible that we will see moose.
There we go.
Moose in the area, but I would not highlight foxes, no, but definitely reindeer and maybe moose as well.
And on any expedition sailing, you'll speak to any expedition leader like Monica or Verena and Karen. Bring binoculars, because you've got to be looking to see, but
that
with binoculars
is the most important tool. Yes, absolutely. Binoculars, super important.
And then when we're on board, we have, of course, the aim is to keep everybody busy in our science and education program. Verena, tell us a bit what our guests will be learning about and how.
Well, so as we said at the beginning of the webinar, we have a brand new science center, which will welcome you, where we will have sessions that will link the content that will be provided to you through lectures. But we will also invite all our guests to join us on the deck watches, where we will try to spot wildlife. Hence the importance of bringing your binoculars to be a part of this experience. And our teams will be always available for you to highlight the wildlife that is spotted. The lectures will focus on the areas that we will be sailing on, and again, the Science Center sessions, we will invite you to see what we can catch during our excursions on land, for example. So it will be heavy in activities and lectures.
Yeah. And we've got a bit more slides a bit later, but we've got some of the activities that we're doing. Monica and Karen, you're activity queens of HX. And we've got lots of experience in this area as well from when we were getting MS Moored, but so we've got some pitch, because we haven't done this with Spitsbergen in the winter, so we've used some we've used some pictures to illustrate the activities. So kayaking, that's it's pretty obvious, kayaking, but also small boat landing. Tell us how the kayaking will work, Karen.
So the kayaking program will be probably a 2-tier program. So it means we're kind of working on developing it a little bit right now. So it's going to be a nice surprise as well when you join us. So we have one kayak program, which is a light program, which you can stay in an inflatable kayak for more or less just with a safety boat and on your own. And then we have a sort of led kayak trip where you go with guides and you are more you're going longer and so forth. So we will try to kind of mix those two based on weather, of course, because weather will play a role. Naturally, you don't sit in a kayak in a storm. That's not a very good experience. So we will, but because we are nestled between these mountains and these fjords and these bays, kayaking is such an amazing experience because you get close to the water, and you get close to the elements in a sense without the noise of an engine and so forth. So we really like to make you aware of the elements around you without the noise, and kayaking is such an experience. So we are very much looking forward to take you out.
And one of the questions we've had is what's the cost of kayaking? But for these specific sailings in these North Norway expedition sailings, then kayaking is included. So we will try and endeavour our best, as much as the conditions allow, to get everybody that wants to go out kayaking to give them the opportunity.
Absolutely, part of the all-inclusive.
And that part of the on-water experience, of course, we've already talked a bit about Zodiac's expedition boats, our inflatable boats. So big part of this will be getting you out and giving you that experience from our boats as well. So that will hopefully be a relatively regular occurrence, but we've also to give some ideas of what kayaking may be like, depending on the conditions, some incredible pictures from trips, fairly recent trips. Which is,
in Norway.
In Norway, where we're going. Yeah, so that's great. And then some of the experiences that we've got planned here. Obviously, we talked about that Norwegian way of life, but tell us a bit about what's going on in these pictures.
So in these pictures, we are trying to give you a snapshot of how we combine our heritage with modern activities and what is authentic for the region. So if you look at the upper right, you have MS Finnmarken, which is part of our heritage. This is where the Hurtigruten started more than 100 years ago, or more than 130 years ago, actually. And we would like to take you back in time, but also show you where we have originated from, because we are right smack in the middle, being in Vesterålen, showing you that with the Hurtigruten Museum. So you can, if you like ships and you are on a ship, this will be a great evening where we stay in the museum. Sauna is something we would like to offer in Lofoten. This has become so popular in Norway. There is that used to be something the Finns did in Finland, but this has grown. Yeah, really. I mean, there is the sauna culture is everywhere now, but it's so nice, and it's an experience. So we would like you to be part of that as well. And then, of course, if and when you come, this is the Lofot fisheries. So the traditions around the fisheries, there will be an optional excursions to go fishing, and then you will also see how they make them on these gills and make it for bacalhau that is mostly exported to Portugal and everywhere else, a lot to Brazil actually. So the vibrant industry of fisheries in the modern times, but also see them from a little bit behind in the story light as well. So you kind of get both faces there. So that's authentic, very authentic.
Yeah, very authentic. Yeah. You get to love the bacalhau at the end of it, but also, yeah, Monica, on board MS Spitsbergen, there's a lovely sauna, a gym, and hot tub, so you can really enjoy the experiences on board. And I'm sure you've spent many an hour as expedition leader, when you've got free time on board.
I'm at least looking at people doing it. Passing by, rushing by.
No,
but yeah, that's correct. We have a lovely sauna on board. And we have 2 jacuzzis. We have a nice little gym with windows, so you can look outside while you are doing your exercises. And no, it's a great little ship. It has a lot to offer.
So if you've still got energy after the day's experiences, then you can burn off some energy, but you can also relax as well in the sauna and hot tub.
And what's better than sitting in a sauna when it's dark outside? You have the stars, maybe you have the northern light above you. You feel the crisp air, but you're nice and cozy in your jacuzzi.
Just like this.
Exactly.
Just like that.
Brilliant.
Perfect timing.
We've spoken quite a bit about the Northern Lights, but yeah, fantastic opportunities to see the Northern Lights as well.
Good season.
We spoke about the light, and this to just demonstrate that our voyages will be operating from mid-January through to March, and we're just demonstrating here that the daylight hours and how quickly that changes. And the important one here is the civil twilight. The astrological and nautical are more when it's pretty dark, but more for navigation. But the civil twilight, the amount that increases from, say, the start of February, where we have 5 hours of clear daylight and a couple of hours of twilight. So that operating window to go hiking or boating, we will pack as much in as we can in those, and outside that we'll do other activities through towards the end of March, where we have 13 plus hours of daylight plus the twilight. So it quickly changes, and we have this magical light that just changes. It's just, let's go.
What a bit, sorry, that was a little bit what I was talking about also, the different colors of the light, the pink light, the blue light, the green light, you have it all.
Yeah.
And even though if we are out hiking, for instance, we do have headlamps. So
exactly,
it's not so short. We do have headlamps, which we most likely would need at some point in the voyages.
That's part of the fun.
It's a part of the fun, and it's a part of the experience as well.
Yeah, that's very authentic to what we normally do, Monica. I mean, we do go out, although there is, nautical twilight, because we just use headlamps, so you get that authentic experience. Yeah,
and also the experience to shut off your headlamp, so you switch it off, and you have just the nature around you, the silence, and the beautiful sky. So it's definitely an experience.
I think being able to be in this, in the Arctic, in the winter months is just really special. You know,
It is.
Very.
the stillness, the light, the feeling, the cold. We haven't really talked about temperature yet, but what temperatures can we expect, or dry air temperatures? Karen, you were doing the scouting.
Yeah, so I did, yes, exactly. So the temperatures on the coastline is, on average in the winter months around -5 Celsius, but you also have a wind chill effect that kind of comes and goes depending on the wind. But a lot of the time you are actually around zero when you are there. But you can have those, when you come into the fjords and you're sort of nestled, as I said, in between, might be very little movement, and then the cold sets in. So then you can even get a lot colder than that. But that's when we tuck you into good thermal protection suits and stuff like that. So we keep you warm but still be a part of the elements outside. So we are very well prepared to be able to take you out in the weather conditions that these areas do provide. So
I would just emphasize that it is important also to have a good base layer.
absolutely, yeah.
So I would encourage everyone to bring some good wool base layers.
Yes.
That's what we use. That was the Norwegian use almost all year round.
Always.
And it's also
I even bring it now.
Yeah. It's maybe also worth mentioning that on board the ship, the temperature is around 20 degrees, very comfortable. 20 degrees Celsius, 68 Fahrenheit, more or less.
Yeah, brilliant.
So the temperature outside is on the lower 30s.
Karen, when you were scouting, you've got some fond memories.
I do. I really, really do. So this is one taken from Vesterålen, the one to the left, and the other one is from Lyngen. We were there in September, end of September, me and one of the other expedition leaders, Tessa van Drie. So Captain Ole Johan, he took us in, and a funny thing was he basically took his own little fishing boat, or the fishing boat there, and he sailed it like he sailed MS Spitsbergen. So he kind of stayed in the middle of the fjord, and he said, "This is where the ship needs to go. This is." So it was very, and there was ice in the fjord when we came in there. So we and this was a fiber boat, so we had to kind of stop there. And there could be ice in the fjord, so we're going to see what we can do with ice as well, which is also very exciting. And then you see the Alpine mountains in the Lyngen area, and we were looking for landing sites where you can walk without having to do too much strenuous walking, but actually getting off and enjoying yourself without kind of coming back completely completely knackered. So we looked at nice places to go, and then we did a lot of boating. We boated. We went through channels, straits, bays, fjords for days at a time to look for where we can do nice zodiac cruising or small boat cruising. Because there are places like, if you look at the picture on the left, there's a bridge there at the very sort of in the horizon there. That's a bridge that the ship cannot go under. But what can we do? We can take out all the zodiacs, we can go under the bridge, and we can go into these beautiful channels, and there is sandy bottoms, and you can see all the life underneath. And the thing is, in January, February, March, there's very little algae in the sea, so you see it's so clear. It's so clear. So and this was just Northern Lights. One night we were on our way to Lofoten, and we just hopped out of the car, and this is what we caught. This is with a very bad camera. It's my cell phone camera. So it's there is so many opportunities to get these unique experiences, because when you come with us, you come with people who know where they are and know the area intimately. So we have scouted almost every fjord from Lyngen to Lofoten.
And I think it's fair to say, on any scouting I've done, you look about about 4 more times. To find one big place, you look at least 4 places. But in
Exactly.
terms of knowledge, Verena, tell us
Well,
how we took a bit before, but
yes, you did mention at the beginning that our trips are meant to be meaningful and with a purpose trips that you join. So our science and education program has been developed for this purpose and this purpose only. So we want to support science. We provide our ships as platforms of opportunity, and we invite researchers to join us, to join you on your trip. But we also run what we call our science boats, which is going out with you on our rubber boats and asking you to help us collect samples and oceanographic data with our instruments. In the middle, you can see that we are collecting some plankton samples, and at the right side, you see our underwater drones in action. And when we come back to the Science Center, if you can please give me the next slide, thank you. Our brand new Science Center, which looks like this, we can use our microscopes to show you what you fished out of the water with the plankton net. We can also stream the images that were captured with our drone so that you can see the life on the water. We also have a very nice collection of bone clones that can help you better understand the anatomy of some of the species that you will encounter. And we even have a brand new telescope, and on a winter itinerary, you will probably get plenty opportunities to look at the stars with the telescope. We also have very nice areas where we can run workshops, where we can, for example, plan what kind of constellations we will look for before going out with the telescope on deck 8 and try to find them. So there is you will love your learning holiday.
Absolutely. And in terms of preparation, what we can do?
Yes, so we also invite you to participate in a number of citizen science projects. We encourage everybody to download these applications before you join the ship, because the internet on board can be patchy and sometimes you can be frustrated if you cannot download your app. So this slide, our lovely Alice, who is helping us on the background, will make a screenshot and share it on the chat so that you can download the applications. The very one that you want to study, it's not an application, but it will provide you information about the Aurorasaurus program, which is a platform where you can submit observations of northern lights. This one is a very nice project. There is a website where you can learn a lot about this project. This project, Aurorasaurus, has been developed by citizen scientists, or contributed by citizen scientists, and it has allowed to discover new types of auroras. So it's interesting. But you can also download eBird and iNaturalist, which will help you identify everything that you come across.
And these type of things are not just for when you're on the ship. You can download them and start enjoying them now. So we'd really encourage you to get involved and be a good citizen, and that call to arms to supply data to the scientific community. It would make Verena very, very happy as our chief scientist.
Yes.
Of course, any trip, there are plenty of opportunities, of course, when you're on the ship, which we've already talked about, that we will be able to provide for you. But there are lots of opportunities before you join the ship or after you join the ship, and we do offer some of those. So again, if you are interested, when you go to look and do some research on the trips, then on our website there is this little tab to navigate you through to those opportunities, as we call them, pre and post the trip. We say, why would you want to extend your trip? We are looking, one, to make your trips as easy as possible with connecting flights. I know there are some flights potential from the UK direct to Tromsø, but also our flight team will be able to help you get the best flights to and from Tromsø. But also, Tromsø is the capital of the Arctic, very much has been the gateway to the Arctic from Norway. It is an incredible city in itself, and there are lots of adventurous activities. One of those ones which I know we're very fond of in the UK is dog sledging, so there's opportunities, things like that, and many other things. So please don't just see this as an activity on the ship, but if you want to make a really good, extend your holiday, there are lots of opportunities to do that. We have some amazing opportunities, and we have had this spring offer which finishes today. So if you do want to book with us, not just on this trip, but on any other trip, and you've been holding out, today is the day, because on selected sailings we do have up to 25% off and a price promise. So if you do find it cheaper later in the day, then you can contact us and get some money back. But as a little incentive and a thank you for spending your time with us today, we are offering an extra 5% off on these specific sailings on MS Spitsbergen to Norway for the next week. So you need to book before the 8th of April, and you do need to call to our call center to make the booking using this code HXWebEvent25, which I'm hoping Alice will share in the chat for us. So you've got that, but also make a note. And also, because we are planning these itineraries around you being able to see the Northern Lights, and Karen and Monica and our fellow Norwegians are 100% sure that we're going to see the Northern Lights. If we do not see a recorded sighting, then we are going to offer you a future cruise credit of £500 or equivalent in euros per person, and that's going to come out of Karen and Monica's savings.
Salaries, probably.
Salaries, yes. So savings. Anyway, we haven't got any of those. But so we are pretty confident that we will see the Northern Lights on these sailings in the spectacular northern Norway. We do have, and of course you've been part of the HX family because you've joined us in this fireside chat. So you do have our call center details, but just in case you want them, or you want to make that call to make that booking, as Karen will tell you, book now. No.
Yeah, book now.
Yeah, book now.
Don't wait. Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Go.
Yeah. But here are the details. So if you do need those, then please make a note again, and we will put those in the chat as well, so you can pull those out. But we really want to give you the opportunity to be able to ask us some questions. So we'll, as we move to stop share, or turning our stop sharing screen, and so you can see us a little bit bigger than the little thumb images.
Talk about gorgeous light.
Yeah,
I know,
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, questions. Who has some questions? I'm going to ask my colleague Ollie to be question master, and I will stop sharing screen. So Ollie, how many questions coming in from our fellow explorers?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. We have had a few questions during the session there. Thank you very much for that. So I'm going to kick off with a seasickness question. Cherry apparently recently did our Antarctica cruise and traveled through the Drake's Passage. Having recently gone through that myself, I can relate to the experience of the seas there. And the question is obviously around the waters in Norway and this particular route. So Karen or Monica, would you like to answer that one, please?
Yeah, I can take that.
You take that one.
Yeah. We will be in very sheltered waters most of the time, so there will not be too much movement. Of course, we are on a ship, so we will feel some movement, but nothing even close to the Drake. So as I said, mostly we will be in sheltered areas, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem, I hope.
But if you're very prone, and you know you're prone to seasickness, then we kind of do recommend to take one precautiously. I mean, taking it as a in advance rather than when you get sick. So, but as Monica says, we're going to be in very sheltered waters for.
And part of the voyage design is those, you know, and
exactly
again, that our captains love those inner channels between the islands, and you know, so we're not going to be going out to open sea, and so very different item. I love Antarctica, but very different itinerary. But the part of the joy of going to and from Tromsø is we don't have those an ocean crossing.
Yeah.
No.
Possibly a question for your good self, Tudor. My wife hates the cold, and how do I persuade her to do this trip, which I love? So thank you, Mike, for that one.
Yeah, I think actually a really good question, because on all our itineraries, you know, we have so much going on. Monica and team on board keep people so busy. There's a lot going on. So I think part of, how do I bring that into the cold? But part of that is there's a lot going on board. There's a lot going on off the ship. And it's really about choosing. You know, the ship is incredibly comfortable, really comfortable areas to sit. It's incredibly warm, as we mentioned. You know, all those type of things. So you can pick and choose the activities. And I think we often see, you know, when we're on the ships, and Monica's on the ships a lot more than the rest of us right now, you know, people decide, and they don't necessarily go over as couples, because one person will be into wanting to see a lecture, one will be wanting to go Zodiac cruising. You know, we want everybody to do everything, but that's really that choice. And I think I probably really butcher it, but there's a Norwegian saying, you know, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing or bad attitude. And as Monica said, when you go to a Norwegian outdoor shop, there's just full of merino wool base layer clothing. So I think on any of our polar sailings, then having good base layer and layering up, and you can really look after yourself.
You won't be cold. No.
Yeah, I take hats galore because that's my thing. But you know, it's about preparation, and it's a different type of cold.
Yeah.
So I don't be frightened of the cold. Embrace it.
I can just add to that, because I love the cold though, but I hate to freeze.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I hate to be cold.
Yeah, me too. So that's why the wool underwear comes in place, and also, you know, a good buff, cover your neck, your head, and also your good gloves for your hands. And also, of course, when we go ashore, we're moving a lot, and that will also keep you warm. So don't let the cold, don't
discourage you.
And Monica, you know, because you spend a lot of your off time in a hut in Svalbard, way up north. Yes. So,
I just came back from there now, actually.
I think it's the first time I've seen you not in a merino top.
It was minus 22 inside when I got there. Yeah, good clothes.
Okay,
good clothes.
Thank you very much. So, I guess the other thing is there's also the sauna. If you get really cold, right, you can head for that to warm up. And we do solo deals if you should desire to leave the wife at home, in extreme circumstances,
or leave the husband at home.
Yeah,
either or.
And then there's a question around the level of kind of fitness and competence in terms of like confidence of exercise that you need for this kind of expedition. So I guess Karen or Monica, if you could answer that, please.
Yeah. When we go ashore with our Zodiacs, we will be there to help you to get you safe ashore. There will be uneven terrain. So that's something that you just have to expect, but it doesn't require any big level of fitness at all. No. Also, our hikes, some of them are more strenuous maybe than others, but we will let you know on board which level that we expect you to have for this. Also for the kayaking, you don't need any specific level of fitness to do that. So it's for everybody. And as I said, we will support you when you go ashore, and we will also equip you with the right equipment. We will have trekking poles for you for everybody, when you go ashore, so you can support yourself with those as well if it's slippery.
Headlamps, crampons, yeah.
Yes.
Everything.
So yeah, you'll be fine.
And Monica and team every evening or at an appropriate time, you'll give a briefing for the next day's activities. You'll outline level of fitness required for different activities, equipment. So it's things don't happen spontaneously in a way, but there's a briefing. So when you're on board, you know what's going on. The same as the science and education activities. So it's all and food and drink, very important as well.
Yes, everything is prepared the day in advance, of course, and is communicated to our guests in the best way. Of course, there can be surprises when the next morning, when the weather forecast did not be as light as we'd like it to do. So we need to expect some changes along the way, but as far as possible, we will inform you the evening before.
Great. Thank you very much. In terms of the kayaking, a question has been asked whether it's a lottery system as in Antarctica. So, Karen, Monica, would you mind answering that?
We will divide people up in groups, but our intention is to be able to take those who would like to go out. The only thing that will hinder that for us is the weather conditions, and that we end up needing to stay more in the zodiacs rather than in the kayaks. So the lottery system, we'll try to kind of avoid it in a sense that it's a lottery system. We will divide you into groups that we will do and then take you out according to your group, but not lottery per se. This is a small ship as well, in a sense. So we hope with the capacity that we are now building that we are able to get you all out when you want to go. Yeah.
And related to that, do you need to have any experience of kayaking at all?
No, like Monica said, no, you do not need any previous experience. This is come as you are. We will be able to get you safely in and out of that kayak, and you can enjoy that experience.
I can relate to that. The friend that I traveled to
Antarctica with
recently had never been in a kayak, and then in Orne Harbour we were kayaking. His first experience with humpback whales. So that's the kind of HX experience that you get.
Couldn't have been better.
Yeah. There's a question around the differences between HX Norway trips and Hurtigruten Trollfjord trip. What are the kind of similarities and differences? I think that's really important to just clarify for our customers today.
I can see Karen wants to talk. Go for it.
Again, yes. Well, I've been living in this bubble for more than 20 years, so it's kind of it comes in the bone marrow in a sense. Trollfjord and those sailings are all based on piers. So you go alongside everywhere you go. There is no tools and toys as we have. We are going to go on a very sort of not unchartered but semi expedition voyage, which the Trollfjord doesn't do. They are very much fixed on times and places, and they go exactly to this location, to this pier, and they do not have zodiacs, they do not have kayaks, and what we have here, this opportunity to enjoy Friluftsliv from the vessel, where we kind of provide it from the vessel. There you will do it through third-party excursion providers when you are in port. So a very traditional port-to-port sailing versus what we are doing, where we are being adventurous and saying, okay, we go to this fjord today because this one looks good because the weather is good, and things like that. So it's very different, very different.
And the port-to-port sailing concept, if you like, is, today we'll be at A, tomorrow we'll be at B, next day we'll be at C. Nature and expedition sailing is Monica and the captain will be working out the best place to be at the best time, depending on the conditions. Hence, when we describe the itinerary, we say these different areas that we're going to be in. We don't promise that on day 2 you're going to be in X or Y, because we're going to get you in the best place at the best time
at the best time with the best weather, and we go remote. So it means that we will try to get you where very few others are. That was the whole point of creating this and itinerary, was to create something that was unique in the sense of not being in the constantly in the biggest tourist spots.
Yeah, the feeling of wilderness.
The feeling of wilderness is what we want you to experience. The way a Norwegian would experience it.
The next question is about, if you had a choice, would you go in the winter or the summer? So interesting for the guest to understand
I would go winter.
difference between the two, and the benefit of winter over summer, or vice versa.
I think winter, it gives you something very unique and special. In the summertime, it's so easy to go everywhere, but in the winter, it's a more unique sailings. It's unique light. It's experiences, and hopefully northern light. You can go snowshoeing in the partly dark. You have the headlamps. You feel, it's way more special to go in the winter time. I
agree.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. And then there's some questions around kind of number of passengers on the trip and how many will be in the landings and the excursions. I don't know if you have kind of a rough feel for that.
The capacity of MS Spitsbergen, maximum is about 140 guests, 140. So that's the maximum capacity. So it's one of our smaller. We've got one smaller ship than MS Spitsbergen, Santa Cruz 2, but it is one of the smaller ships in our fleet. In terms of the excursions, depending on the excursion or the activity, then they're split into groups, but it's very dependent on the excursion, or activity. So whether it's kayaking, hiking, or a visit to MS Finnmarken would be a different number. So they're based on the activity. So can't give a
but everybody will but everybody will experience everything. We are very well sort of versed in how to sort of create groups that are not too big, so that you don't feel like you're walking in a crowd, but you're kind of experiencing this with the senses you have, without feeling that you're constantly standing in a line.
Fantastic. And then a couple of people have asked about solo prices and solo supplements, and we always have a solo supplement on all of our sailings. So I will pop in the chat here a link to the website, which will give you some of the solo offers, so you're able to browse those. And I think that will complete the questions. So we're bang on time, pretty much 1 minute over. Thank you, everybody, for your questions and your engagement, and thank you to the presenters for doing a brilliant job. The only thing that remains to ask is if you wouldn't mind filling in our feedback survey, that'd be very much appreciated. But unless there's anything else, we will wrap up. Tudor, did you?
I think just the feedback's really important to us, so please do that. Remember, if you do want to make a booking, then there are the offers in the next. There's the magnificent offer by the end of today. I know that's quite a stretch, but there is this little extra offer coming up in the next 8 days. But enjoy that. But we very much look forward to welcoming you on board. And Monica looks forward to seeing you in northern Norway on these trips, and I'm sure Karen will appear in one.
I will be there.
And hopefully me as well.
And join you guys. So I hope to see you there.
We're very excited about these voyages.
We are.
So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you on board. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
See you on board.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. This concludes our webinar.